from the studios of the Performance Motorsports Network, bringing you the fastest 60 minutes in racing. It's Burning Rubber Radio.
Burning rubber, baby.
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 Burning rubber, baby. Burning rubber, baby.
Now, here are your hosts.
I know what the prediction is. You don't even have to explain it. And here it is.
Burning rubber, baby.
Hey, Burning Rubber, baby, it is. I'm Andy DeLay, and we're back for another 60 minutes of motorsports adrenaline here on Burning Rubber Radio. I'm sitting here with the crew, the full crew this week. That's right. The ass chimp himself, Charles Robinson, is back. How you doing, Charles?
I'm back.
You know I love you, man. I'm just playing. And, of course, we have the one and only Dan Smith. How are you, buddy?
Doing all right, man. Just getting Charles' blow dryer plugged in for them blonde locks of his.
You know how that is, man. And, of course, we have the one and only Little Miss Dangerous, Emily Goddard. How you doing, Emily?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Hey, you know, we're doing real good. We're sitting here talking into these big microphones and stuff, and Charles and his, what do you call that? The mullet that he's got going with those locks are just something else. And, of course, we also have behind the board, we have the one and only Bob Steele. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing fine, man. Keeping you under control back here in the electronics section.
You got it, man. Just don't spill your coffee on the board again.
Oh, no!
Well,
I'll
tell you, folks, I'm really glad to have Charles Robinson back here in the studio, man. And Charles, it's always good to have you here. And we got all kinds of neat stuff. We got announcements to make tonight. We got all kinds of stuff. But really quick, let me tell you exactly who you're going to hear from tonight on, or today, whenever you're listening here on Burning Rubber Radio. We have the one and only Ted Musgrave. Of course, you all that have been around NASCAR have remembered him. He ran with Roush, and then, of course, he was champion in the old Craftsman Truck Series. And we're going to speak to Chad Hockenbraugh, who just ran the number 51 for Kyle Busch Motorsports out at Las Vegas this week, and is going to be running some more. Can't wait to talk to Chad. Then we got, Dan, you hooked us up with Mr. Bill McAnally from the K&N West Series. And then, of course, the one and only, we've got to talk about our boy, Chase Briscoe, right, bud?
Oh, man, we got to talk about Chase Briscoe and that killer run he had out there Saturday night, that's for sure.
That's right, folks. And we're going to do some talking about some refocusing on some new series that we're going to be talking about. We're going to have fun. We're going to eat some pizza. We're going to throw it around the room. But you know what, folks? You better tighten up those seatbelts because we're fixing to go burning rubber, baby. We'll be right back after this.
Tired of shopping around for your racing gear? Driving from store to store only to find they don't have what you want? Farner's Racing Collectibles on Route 997 in Scotland, Pennsylvania has it all. The hottest NASCAR, IRL, and NHRA diecasts, t-shirts, jackets, flags, and a whole lot more. Everything racing. Stop by or check out their website, www.farnersracing.com. You'll be surprised at the selection, prices, and friendly client service. UPS, FedEx, and USPS shipping available. Farners Racing Collectibles, where racing comes alive. We are the Performance Motorsports Network, and incredible sales opportunities exist. If you have a business in the motorsports industry, give our sales department a call, 717-749-0444, or send us an email, performancemotorsportsnet@yahoo.com. We'll have an account representative get in touch with you immediately to show how we can market your business to the motorsports community.
Guns, gas, and girls. It's Burning Rubber, baby. Now back to the show.
And that's right, folks. We're back. And I tell you what, you know, when you hear that guns, girls, and gas, well, we know who the girl is. We know I got the gun, but Andy must have the gas.
And I've got some ass over here, too, brother, and plenty of it.
Ooh, got that right. But I tell you what, folks, we got to step up and get some action in this show because, you know, one of our favorite sponsors, iRacing, you know, one of the kinds where Andy usually dumps somebody, hits the wall, and some of the rest of us actually race.
Amen to that.
We got to talk about that because me and Dan both know about it. But I tell you what, folks, we can't say enough about our wonderful sponsor with iRacing. I tell you what, folks, if you haven't got the game, we're going to continue running some contests, giving away some free 3-month stuff. And all you're going to have to do is go to the Burning Rubber Facebook page, folks. And I tell you what, when we give you the clue and what you need to do, that's what you need to go do.
Yeah, that's right. And this past week, the Camping World Truck Series on iRacing, as we were running the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and I don't know how many poles you have, Charles, but you're talking to a person for the Florida Series who got the pole for the Camping World Truck Series race and finished in the top 5. Can you say that? I know you got a win here recently, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I got a win at Talladega, but of course, as iRacing, he's got it set up in the Gen 6. It doesn't count, but hey, what? I saved the replay, so I got proof that I did it, and I've had numerous second places and third places. And the only thing about it is with me, I'm not a dumper. I'm not going to wreck somebody to get the win. I've been wrecked numerous times running second and third with cars that really weren't faster. They just kept dive bombing, trying to get a little farther. But I tell you what, folks, that's the way it is with racing, especially online, where it don't cost you money to put fenders back on it.
That's right. Thank God.
So Goldilocks, does that mean you're the Casey Kane of iRacing?
Oh, Casey Kane and Charles Robinson. You notice there's silence over there?
I noticed the silence.
Hey, Dan Smith, you better shut up or I'll reach through the studio and just...
And then, of course, Emily's over there real quiet. Hey, folks, we're still waiting. We got to get with Logitech or something, guys. We have to get Emily got a racing wheel so she's up there at the University of Northern Ohio, which she needs to be in there racing when she's not doing her homework. Hey, you could call that homework, can't you, Emily?
Oh, maybe I have high performance steering and suspension next, so that might be an asset to that class.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about high-performance steering and suspension. Take it from me, a big fat guy, me and Charles, because Charles weighs about 50 pounds more than me. Just keep all the weight and everything on the left side of the car. You're good to go.
Okay, I'll remember that.
He's definitely got the experience on the left side weight. Don't let him fool you.
Dan, you're strangely silent over there. You been doing any iRacing this week, buddy?
I haven't had time to do iRacing, buddy. We've been working on some big things, man.
Yeah, some real big things, man. And we're going to save that because we got that coming up here in the show. But I tell you, man, I want everyone out there, if you are an iRacer, go to the league section at iRacing.com and join the Burning Rubber Radio League. We've been silent here the last few weeks because we're gearing up for season 2. Got all kinds of good giveaway stuff. Thank you, Shell Shocked out there. We got some neat stuff from them. We got some other stuff, right, Dan?
Yeah, we got some Christopher Bell merchandise, some cool swag from out there. Thanks to Kathy Bell for giving us that. We got a 4-foot trophy to give away to season 2 champion. We got a lot of cool stuff, man, to give away in season 2. So we'll get that info out there just as soon as we're ready to launch it.
Yeah, that's right. Just make sure you box it up and put a lot of the popcorn in that box there to get my trophy down to me, buddy.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
You go through and dump everybody. I'm sure you'll win it. That's how you race, buddy.
Whatever, dude. Anyway, man, if you guys want to go
got the video to prove it, ass chimp.
Whatever, man. We want you to come iRacing with us. If you are not currently an iRacing customer, jump on the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page and say, I want to go iRacing. We'll throw you a code, get 3 free months. So guess what, folks? We got to get out of here and pay the bills. We'll be right back with more Burning Rubber Radio after this.
Tincher Williams Chevrolet Buick GMC is your Lexington, Kentucky and Corbin Chevy Buick and GMC authority. From pre-owned to the newest models, Tincher Williams is the only place to shop in the Lexington area. Check out their website for your next new or pre-owned vehicle, www.tincherwilliamschevrolet.com. All of the full-line inventory of in-stock and on-order Buicks, GMC trucks, and Chevrolets are right there online. Plus, you can check out what's hot at Tincher Williams on the homepage. Schedule your service appointment. Browse the inventory. Look for Tincher Williams specials. Check out your financing options. See what GM incentives are being offered for your vehicle. You can even shop for new tires at their convenient online tire store and get directions from wherever you are right there. It's all online at www.tincherwilliamschevrolet.com. That's Tincher Williams Chevrolet Buick GMC, located in London, Kentucky. Your Lexington and Corbin Chevy Buick and GMC authority. The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Green, green, green. Pedal to the metal, baby.
Let's get back to Burning Rubber Radio.
Burning Rubber Radio. You're listening to, and you got it locked in here. It's time for something that we have been following, or someone that we've been following here on Burning Rubber Radio. And Dan, I'm just going to let you do this, man. It's all you here.
All me, huh? I'm not going to waste any time, man, because I know we got a stellar guest lineup tonight, and I want to talk to my best friend, my buddy, Chase Briscoe. How you doing tonight, my man?
Good. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, man. You sound a little tired. I talked to you earlier this afternoon when you got off the plane in Indy, man, but we got to talk about it. We got to get right after it, man. You run your very first NASCAR K&N West Series race, Pro Series race out there in Albuquerque this weekend. Tell me what you thought, man. Coming out of the sprint cars, first time on pavement, 150 laps, Bias-Ply tires, 3,400-pound stock car. Tell me what your thoughts are, brother.
Yeah, like you said, just got off the plane. It's definitely been a long day. It's been a long week, but yeah, it's definitely a little different than the dirt, a lot longer races. You know, the longest race I'd ever ran before that was 40 laps, so 150 was definitely an adjustment that I had to get used to, but yeah, I really like the stock car stuff. It fits my style more, you know, just be the smooth, consistent, hit your marks kind of guy, and I definitely hope I can do some more of it in the future.
Oh, we're going to make sure you do some more of it in the future, Risky Brisky. That's a fact, man. Now, we've been talking. I've been talking to you last week after testing and talked to you a little bit today, like we said today, and I talked to you after the race. We was talking about the track, a very abrasive track. The tires went away, and you made, what was it, 126-lap run. But let's back up from there, and let's go to the first 15 laps of the race. You run into some issues, caution, a couple cars spun in front of you, car run up your rear end, you got some damage and had to make a pit stop, about 10 or 15 laps into the race. What kind of damage was done to the car, and how'd that set you back, buddy?
Yeah, like you said, you know, the track was really, really abrasive, and our whole goal going into this, we had Trip Bruce as the crew chief, and he had stressed to me all week, you know, we just really have to save our tires, and so that was our whole goal going into the race. We qualified 6th, which was a really good start for us, and, you know, the whole goal was, you know, just get in a rhythm, find this place in line, and just ride. We had a yellow on around, I think, lap 12, and the car just didn't see the yellow and got into the back of us, and tore up our left rear quarter panel, so we had to pit and go to the tail, and at that point, you know, Tripp was just telling me, you know, let's just stay back here and let's just save our tires and we'll be there at the end. So that's what we did. I just kept telling over the radio, I was like, I'm only running quarter throttle. What do you want me to do? And he just kept saying, you know, we got a really good pace right now. We were just waiting for the yellow, but unfortunately the yellow never came. And I think we got a yellow on lap 137 out of 150, so we just couldn't catch the yellow. If we could have got one a little earlier, I really think we had a good shot at the top 3, maybe top 5. Finish, because our tires were definitely going to be there for the end.
Well, hey, Chase, you know, we have all been so excited about this. Following you on Facebook everywhere, you had pictures of everything. It was like, I mean, all of Burning Rubber here, we were getting to follow this step by step with you. You know what I'm going to ask you, man? You run in the Burning Rubber Radio iRacing League. Tell me how do those national cars in iRacing feel in real life? Basically, you were out there running the K&N West cars.
Yeah, you know, iRacing doesn't offer the Napa Speedway track, so it was kind of difficult because I'd never been on pavement and never really ran anything over a half mile, which that track was. But Terre Haute and Napa Speedway are a little different, but you just don't feel it on iRacing. That's the only downfall. But how they drove actually a lot the same. You know, you could tell about the same horsepower, and if you overdrive it on iRacing, it's going to slide quite a bit. And that's what it did in real life if you overdrove it. So iRacing is definitely a great tool. Especially if they have the track that you're going to run, it can definitely benefit you.
Now, Chase, we was trying to follow you back here in Indiana on the K&N site, and the coverage was a little lacking, man. But we never really heard a lot about what was going on in that race, and you end up finishing 8th. And you know, you was set back a little bit, like you explained how the race went out and the strategy that you guys employed there. But what one thing did you take away from that race that will help you moving on? I know there's some talk that we're going to try to, there's a group of people going to try to get you in the car at Phoenix again. So anybody out there, let's make this happen for Mr. Briscoe here. But anyway, Chase, what one thing did you take away from this race that will help you in the future in the K&N series?
Yeah, the one thing I definitely learned is track position is definitely key. You got to be there at the end, and I felt like we did a pretty good job at executing that. We just couldn't get to yellow. We kept ourselves in contention. You know, we were on the lead lap at the end, which definitely you can't win if you're not on the lead lap. So we were in contention. I just got to get a little better at staying up front and getting our track position.
That track position seemed to be pretty important. There was a lot of cars that fell back, but I want to talk about your testing and your qualifying, kind of backtracking here a little bit. But how consistent? Tell the people out here how consistent you were for your first time on pavement. I mean, I was impressed when I learned about these times after your test session and then going into practice on Saturday. But you were what was the exact splits there?
Yeah, in practice, we really wanted to focus on our races. If we went out with about 30-lap tires, and we knew we weren't going to be the fastest in practice, and we knew that going into it. And we just wanted to really, get a good pace and find out where we were going to be for the race that night. And that's one thing we really were proud about. The whole team was we were really consistent. We were turning 1s and 2s and 3s almost all of practice. So that was definitely a huge deal for us. I mean, we weren't the fastest, but we were definitely consistent.
All right, Chase, is there anything that you can tell us? Is there any news that you can give us about the next time we'll see you in a K&N car, or what's on the table for 2015? Is there anything you can announce yet?
14.
Or 2014.
Yeah, 2014. Yeah, I'm definitely not a psychic, so I can't tell you about 2015 or 14, but hopefully I can get back in the car. I can't thank Bill McAnally Racing enough for that opportunity, and to have Napa filters on the car, it was just a huge deal for me to be with such a respectable company as Napa. And they've been a long-time supporter of NASCAR, so for them to be on the car for my first start was definitely a big deal for me, and hopefully we can do something in the future. And like you said, hopefully we can run Phoenix, and I know they have Kern County left, so hopefully we can make something happen there.
Now, I hope so, man. We need to make that happen. We need a Risky Brisky posse or something and make that happen, man. And I promise you this, Risky, I will not miss the next K&N race you run. I will be there in person, buddy. You drove me crazy this weekend trying to keep up with you and get information. But why don't you tell us who helped you out? Who, other than Bill McAnally Racing, how'd you get out there and run the K&N? Who helps you on the sprint car back here in Indiana?
Yeah, I mean, I got to thank Bobby Hill, and I don't know if you guys all know him, but he was a NASCAR driver, and he's really helped my career in the sprint car and in the K&N car, and him at T-Rex Construction and Engineering. He's the whole reason I've been running this deal, and I can't thank him enough for that, and hopefully he'll continue to bag me, and like you said, we can run Phoenix and Kern County and hopefully do something next year. And he also helps us on the sprint car along with AFCO Racing, Shocks, and Hoosier Racing Tire, and then, of course, my grandpa at Briscoe Homes. So without them, it wouldn't be possible at all.
Now, I want to. We got just about a minute and a half here, Chase, and I want to ask you one question. I haven't got to talk to Risky Brisky Senior, man. What's Risky Brisky think about that trip out there with you this weekend? And of course, we're talking about the legendary Kevin Briscoe.
Oh, he was thrilled. It's always been my dream to race NASCAR, and I know he knows that. And just for him to be able to see me accomplish that, even though it was just one race right now, I know he was proud of me, and I know he wants to see me back out there just as much as I want to be out there. So for him, it is definitely a big deal, and I know he liked it. Even though I'm sure he wishes he could still be out there.
I wish he could too. Hey, Chase, I'm up against the clock here, man. Bob's come out here and put a noose around my neck, man. But you've been on here. You're no stranger to Burning Rubber Radio. You know those 3 words you got to say for us to get off the phone with you. So let me hear that. Burning Rubber, baby.
I'm Chase Briscoe, and I'm burning rubber, baby.
There it is. Yeah.
That was Chase Briscoe, Risky Brisky, and fresh off his K&N run out there in K&N Pro Series West. And we'll be right back right after this.
Some statistics are surprising, some are unbelievable, and some are simply unacceptable. Right now, nearly 30% of U.S. students aren't finishing high school. Nearly 30%. And that's the average. In many places, it's even higher than that. And fixing it is a responsibility that we all share. This is President Obama, and I urge everyone, not just parents, but friends and neighbors and family members, to take responsibility for encouraging the high school students in your communities, to support them, challenge them, push them a little, and do whatever it takes to help them make it through. Because this is one statistic we simply can't afford to ignore.
You can do your part by going to boostup.org and sending an email, a text message, or even a wake-up call to a student at risk of dropping out. Go to boostup.org and provide the boost that's needed to make it to graduation. A message from the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Burning Rubber Radio. And now back to the iRacing God, well, at least in his own mind, Andy DeLay and his cast of crazies.
That's right. The iRacing God I am. Just file in behind me because everyone else follows me around every track that I drive. That's right. I'm Andy DeLay. We're back with Burning Rubber Radio. We have on the line with us, and we are excited to say, the 2005, it was the Craftsman Truck Series champion at the time, and he is a champion. We have Ted Musgrave. How are you doing, Ted?
Just sitting on my back porch. Yeah, I'm doing good.
You don't sound as excited as I am, man. But welcome to Burning Rubber Radio, man. It's been a while since we talked to you.
It's been, maybe a year or so? I don't remember, but, like I said, I just got done eating supper, relaxing. You sound like you're all wound up, ready to go get something to eat.
Oh, he's always ready to go get something to eat, Ted. Don't worry about that. Yeah, he's the first in line for that.
Oh, yeah, like I say, yeah. When you go to the buffet line, everybody just gets shoved out of the way, don't they?
Oh, yeah. If it's not over, it's the mouth.
Oh, my Lord. I guess Ted knows us. Dan, I know you're going crazy over there. You're a huge Ted Musgrave fan.
Oh, yeah. I've had Ted when we was at OTC, and you should have heard that interview. How you doing, Ted?
I'm doing good. Well, we got everybody there today. Who's all in the background?
We got Andy DeLay, Charles Robinson, Emily Gotti, and myself. But I think Charles is chomping at the bit to talk to you, Ted.
Yeah, how did you all fit in that closet?
He knows our budget too, don't he? He knows our budget.
Yeah, he knows you're in the closet, Dan.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go quiet now. How's that sound?
That's right. Well, I'll tell you what, Ted. Yeah, the last time we got a chance to talk to you, buddy, was down there at Rockingham. Of course, Andy and I was down there hanging out, and I said, I'm thinking somebody told me that Ted was down here, and I believe it was your I'll say your better half. Of course, you may get on to me. She may be your most awesome half or whatever. But, of course, we're friends with Debbie, on the NBS Racing blog and stuff, and we talk to her a lot. And she told me you were going to be there, and I remember distinctly. I said, I'm going to pack my Ted Musgrave stuff, and I'm going to get a signature. And I said, I'm going to wait till I interview him first because I really don't want to make him mad if we're trying to steal his food or something, and disturbing him. But, and of course I told Andy to stay out of the coolers and stay away from the grill, so everything was cool. But it was an awesome time, man, to come down there and talk to you. And like I said, I'm like Dan, you were one of my heroes. I love watching you race. It was always rooting for Ted Musgrave out there. Bought tons of die-cast and stuff. And I said, one of these days, you get to meet your heroes, and sure did.
Yeah, I got to go down to Rockingham. Actually, I think the last time I went down there, I was spotting for Hornaday at the truck race, and it was pretty cool. I mean, like I say, the old Rockingham Speedway brings back a lot of memories too, but it's far and few between to get to visit these racetracks again.
Well, now, right now, of course, and that's one of the things that we hate to see too, because we see, we're seeing the upstarts, of course, the younger generation, the young guns and things like that, and I mean, I hate to put it that way, but you got a lot of guys coming up, 17, 18-year-old, barely out of Pampers, and they're out here, racing the trucks or, nationwide and stuff like that. And to us, we're old school, Ted, and we consider it, and we don't want to make you sound old or nothing like that because you're far from that. But you're the kind of drivers we grew up with, watched, and just thought they're just as bad as a hammer out there. Right now, you're giving advice to a lot of these guys. I know you're doing some driver coaching and things like that too. What kind of advice do you give them coming from that old school background?
Quit racing, get a real job.
Oh, my Lord.
Hate equals truth. Hate equals truth.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, some of them, like I say, you talk to them, you try everything you can just tell that, they ain't going to make it. It's like, you better just go find yourself a real job. And some of them, like I say, you can change them around and say, okay, here's what you need to do. And, they can turn out to be champions. But it kind of depends on each and every one. And each individual is different, the way they drive, the way they perform, the way they listen, and the way they learn. Like I say, there's a variation of people. Like, there's some really good up-and-coming drivers I see in the seats that have natural talent, and there's some that I'm watching on TV also that, like I say, they're still out there just making laps and never going to make it. Kind of depends on the person, but like I say, going back to the old time there, years ago, when we didn't have them radial tires, you had them bias-ply tires, and I remember, like, North Wilkesboro and places like that, when you got Rusty Wallace, Earnhardt, and everybody else racing against them. You'd come off that corner and you'd be spinning the wheels, be sideways, smoke flying off the right rear, and all kinds of stuff. Like, you get them all sideways and straighten them out. You can't do that nowadays. Things are a lot different. The race cars, race trucks, and race vehicles, they drive so much different that, the styles of last year and the year before just don't work nowadays.
Yeah, Ted, what do you think is the biggest difference between racers trying to make it today and racers trying to make it in your generation?
Well, back then, there's the money difference, actually, financial backing, stuff like that. I mean, you still have to have the talent. You still have to, drive the race vehicle no matter what you're doing. But before, the teams didn't have to invest so much money. It didn't cost that much money to go racing, so the driver really didn't have to bring money. A lot of them owners were just looking for a driver for performance. They weren't looking to say, hey, I know you can drive a race car, but, you know, you still got to bring $6.5 million, you know. Back then, you know, yeah, it's like, okay, I know you can drive a race car, just win me 6 races. It's like, okay. It's changed a lot. Yes, it has. It's just because the evolution of technology and the way things are nowadays costs so much money to race. But it's all, you know, we're our own worst enemy. I mean, the racers, the owners, and NASCAR is the one that did it. You know, it's just, when you look at it, yeah, there's so many things that changed throughout the years that they could have put a cap on where they didn't, but it just escalated and it's kind of out of hand.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Well, now talk about that a little bit, Ted, too, because I want to, you know, we got a lot of rookie stripers out there and stuff, and they don't understand, you know, years ago, you know, you had a team with a sponsor. They looked for a driver. They didn't really go out and just, you know, say, well, hey, you know, bring some money and stuff. There was lots of money floating around, you know, and, you know, of course, I mean, NASCAR had tons of sponsors wanting to be a part of it because it was the #1 spectator sport. But now, a lot of the younger generation are coming to the teams. They have to bring the money. How can you coach somebody, and how can you kind of talk to them a little bit about that and just kind of, you know, tell them how it is and how it was?
Well, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, years ago, you said the owners had a sponsor. You know, it was their sponsor more or less, and you had to, the only way to drive their race cars, you had to perform. You had to win races. You had to be up front. You had to do something performance-wise. Not as far as like, oh, go make these appearances. You got to make sure you get your teeth white and your hair combed just right and all this stuff for the TV deal. Back then, who cared? I mean, look at some of the drivers from back then, the way they looked. I mean, they'd almost scare you. But the ones like that, I mean, they'd be passing you in the outside, waving around at you. You know? That's the thing. It's changed so much. The appearance and what your representation is what really changed. You know, and nowadays, like you say, that they're marketing people more just on their visibility than they are performance. Heck, if it was performance, I can tell you a handful of them that don't even need to be in a race car right now. You know, but they're just out cruising for cash.
That's true.
Or just riding around looking pretty.
That's right.
Well, I wouldn't really say pretty, but yeah, there's a couple of them that, you know, you're right. You know, they're just more worried about their image than they are their statistics and their stats and their performance. So it's changed a little bit, but then again, like I say, you can't stop this. It's the way it is. Maybe it's more like I mean, heck, look at football nowadays. I watch it every now and then, and I can't even read the guy's number on his back or his name because his hair's hanging out too long. Where did that come from? You know?
Well, I don't watch sports with, you know, unless they have 2 balls. You know, I don't like the 1-ball ones.
Well, I could say something, but I'm not going to do nothing on that one. I think you're going. But anyway, let's get off that subject. Yeah, racing, like I say, it's still going to keep going, but it's just changed so much. I think the viewership is down a little bit. The whole era of, like, I don't want to keep naming names, but the Earnhardt and the Rusty and then you've got Dale Jarrett and you've got Harry Gant and you've got all these people. I mean, there's just tons of them out there that people that watch these guys and they were like, oh, these are my heroes. They're older enough now. They don't have to spend the time watching TV no more. They're doing something else. I don't know if it's bingo or chess or scooter races or something. I don't know, but you know, the newer generation, yeah. Well, maybe Stewart ought to get in the scooter race. He looks pretty fast on his right now.
Yeah, he does.
Him and Tom Cruise are buddies.
The newer generation is not that interested in the race cars right now. They're more into the high-tech stuff.
That's true. And, of course, one thing before we get out of here, Ted, is Ted Musgrave going to be back in the Camping World Truck Series anytime?
No. I'm done racing for sure. I mean, you know, it's just, like you say, if somebody came up to me and said, hey, you know, I'm going to go to Darlington and can you run this race? I love places like that and stuff like that. It has to be a decent team. I'm not going to go out there just to run laps. I've done that all my life. I did it for 30-some years straight. I've done enough laps. But if there was something like, hey, we got a chance to win a race, I'll go do it. But other than that, no.
Definitely. Well, anyway, Ted Musgrave, thank you very much for being with us here on Burning Rubber Radio. There is one tradition. I don't know if you remember it. In order to get off our show, you got to yell it. Kenny Wallace started this. You got to yell at the top of your lungs and bug all your neighbors. You got to yell, Burning Rubber,
you know what
baby.
I'll say? No, I'll say, I'll hang up now. Please remember, I'm on this end of the phone. All I got to do is push my cell phone, go click.
Oh, my God. Oh, I love it, Ted. You're invited to the show anytime you want, buddy.
All right, just get a little bit of a closet. Hey, make sure it's nice and airtight, because when I get on, I'm going to fart.
Oh, Lord.
That'll drive you out of the closet.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yep,
folks,
that's
I'm
it.
Ted
You guys-
Musgrave. I want to thank you very much for being with us, Ted. And, Bob, you got to get us over there to the NASCAR chef, John Dix, man.
Thanks, Andy. What do we got today, John?
Hey guys, we got some good recipe, burning rubber, baby.
Woohoo!
We got something a little different. It's called a pineapple raisin broccoli salad.
Broccoli and pineapple and raisin. Okay, I'm all ears, my friend.
Okay, man. We're going to start with 1 pound of bacon, 8 cups of broccoli. You want to break it up into little forays or cut it up. We want 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, 1 can of pineapple tiblets, a half a cup of raisins, 3/4 of a cup of chopped red or Vidalia onion, whichever one you prefer. I prefer the Vidalia because they're so sweet. A cup of mayonnaise or salad dressing, again, whatever you prefer. A half a cup of sugar and a 1/4 cup of vinegar. Okay, folks, this is very simple now. In a large skillet, you're going to cook the bacon over medium heat until it's brown, and then put it on some paper and set it aside. In a large bowl, you're going to combine the broccoli, the cheese, the pineapple, the raisins, and the onion, and then you want to crumble in the bacon and then add the broccoli to the mixture. And just lightly mix it. You don't want to break it all apart because you'll break up the broccoli and the pieces of the pineapple. Okay. Now for a dressing, you want to stir some mayonnaise, sugar, and vinegar, and pour it over the broccoli mixture and just toss it lightly. Let it chill for about 2 to 4 hours, and it makes a nice fall-like salad.
Wow, John, that sounds incredible, and I could not figure out how you were going to do pineapple and broccoli and make them taste good together, but my mouth is watering here, my friend.
Yeah, Bob, it really is good. It's one of my favorites.
Well, that's incredible and a great dish for fall, and you could do this at a tailgating. You could do it in the pit and paddock area. You could do it for your race team. You could do it for your barbecue. You could do it for almost anything.
Absolutely, you're right, Bob. Football's going on, racing's going on, and this just makes it a good little dish for everybody. I usually do entrees, so I like to do a salad once in a while, kind of a side dish.
Not too bad. I think Andy could probably use a little salad from time to time, huh?
Could we all, my friend? Could we all?
That's true. Well, give me those 3 famous words, John.
Burning rubber, baby.
There you go. Chef John Dix with another great recipe on Burning Rubber Radio. I'm Bob Steele, and we'll be back after these messages.
This entire piece of music was played with only 2 instruments, a right hand and a left hand. Hands can do incredible things, but nothing compares to using them to help save a life with hands-only CPR. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. Hands-only CPR is recommended by the American Heart Association, and it's incredibly easy and effective. Find out more about this latest method of CPR at handsonlycpr.org. The power to help save a life is in your hands. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
The Performance Motorsports Network is in the pits. The Performance Motorsports Network is the doghouse. The Performance Motorsports Network is the best cruising music on the internet. Tell your friends about it. The Performance Motorsports Network. You can call us at 717-749-0444 or send us an email, performancemotorsportsnet@yahoo.com. That's performancemotorsportsnet@yahoo.com. Be looking for phone apps, our Facebook page, and our Twitter page coming up soon. Performance Motorsports Network, your source for motorsports.
These guys only shut up when their mouths are full of food, which means there's a lot of silence during the commercials. Here's more Burning Rubber.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Burning Rubber Radio. Of course, I just love the show, man. We got a great lineup. Dan Smith, Charles Robinson, Emily Gotti, and, of course, I'm Andy DeLay. We're moving on to our next guest here this morning, evening, whenever you're listening. This weekend, of course, as we've already talked about, Chase Briscoe got to run his first NASCAR race in the K&N Pro Series West out at Albuquerque. And someone we wanted to get on this show because he got to run their car is, of course, Bill McAnally. Bill McAnally, how are you doing this wonderful day, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Our trucks just showed up from Albuquerque, and we're starting to unload the race cars and put things away and get ready for our race. We've got a test this Friday at All-American Speedway in Roseville to race next Saturday.
That is awesome. And Bill, something here we're doing at Burning Rubber Radio, we are starting to focus here on the K&N Pro West and East Series. So this is a little bit new to some of our listeners here. I'm sure that some of them didn't even know that the K&N Series is actually one of the touring series in NASCAR that's divided East and West. And you are a team owner in the West Series, correct, sir?
Yes, I have been for some time. I used to drive in it, and it's a great series with a lot of history. It was created in 1954. Winston created it, helped NASCAR create it, because when the Winston Cup would come out and race in the West Coast, they wouldn't get some full fields. So they started a West Coast series called the Winston West, and we would go into venues, into areas that didn't have any NASCAR, up in Washington and Oregon, and just like Albuquerque, New Mexico this weekend, and create some interest in NASCAR racing. And then when the Cup cars would come west, they had cars out here to help fill the fields. And there's actually West Coasters that won Cup races back at Riverside in Ontario. Years back, they'd do more than help fill the field. They'd actually win the race occasionally.
That's awesome.
Hey, Bill, this is Dan. You know I've been cheerleading Chase Briscoe all weekend out there, running in your cars out there in the K&N Series, and I'm not even going to beat around the bush here, Bill. There's a few other questions I want to ask you, and I know you got a big name getting in your car this weekend that we want to get out there. But what'd you think of our Indiana buddy Chase Briscoe last weekend?
You know, I think the world of Chase Briscoe. I got to go to Charlotte and watch him in the Peak Driver Challenge. He was one of 800 drivers, that entered that and was chosen. And they brought me out, Ty Norris and the people from Peak brought me out there to look at the kids with them and see, so I can learn a little bit about them. I'll tell you what, Chase stood out right away, did a great job, really impressed with a lot of kids. They did a great job putting those kids together. They had 10 great kids out there putting on a heck of a challenge against one another. And I got to see them run a road course, run a short track. They actually got in go-karts and ran a 45-minute endurance race, and that was incredible. But Chase definitely caught my attention, caught my eye. He did a great job. And I'll tell you what, this weekend we had a lot of fun with him. We were able to put him out in front of the sponsors and the fans, and he did a great job representing himself and Indiana. He spoke well, and he got in that race car. His feedback was good. He knew what he needed. And he just did a fantastic job this weekend, and it was a pleasure to work with him.
Now, Bill, did you have any trepidation putting him in the car, knowing that he had no pavement experience, that it was that his background was on dirt?
Well, we took him and tested him before we decided for sure we were going to the race. I mean, we were planning on it, but if I would have saw something in that test where I thought that he wouldn't be comfortable or safe, we would have definitely postponed it. But in the test, he did a great job. He was real comfortable. He looked comfortable in the car and just did a really good job talking to the crew, telling what he needed, just the way he drove the car. He started off, feel of everything, was a whole different race car than he's used to driving. But he did a fantastic job in that test, and I met with his crew chief after the test, and with Chase, everybody felt comfortable, so we went on to the race, and just real happy with him. It was a very educational week for him, but he went out there and finished every lap, and we were able to roll the car into the trailer after the race. That's a good thing for a first start, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it was driving us nuts trying to keep up to date on what was going on there Saturday night. Now, you've got Eric Holmes, of course, who's a 3-time series champion out there driving your cars too. Where do you go and look for your drivers for your K&N teams? Do you look to the dirt tracks or more pavement, or is your experience with Chase going to kind of change that up a little bit, or where exactly do you find your drivers at, Bill?
I'll tell you what, we've got our eyes opened all the time, and always looking. We've, in this Peak Drivers Challenge, competition was an amazing place to see some talent. We took Patrick Strapoli, another competitor from that program, and ran him up Denver, Colorado for a race. He's a driver from Florida, and he did a heck of a job too. That place was a great place to evaluate some drivers and find some future talent. But the short tracks all across America. I mean, we looked at sprint cars, go-karts. I've had drivers. Brendan Gaughan came to me from off-road racing. You just never know where you're going to find the talent. You know, Paulie Haraka had a lot of experience in go-karts and had just started doing some late model truck racing. Didn't have a lot of experience in a stock car when he came to us. So you just never know where they're going to come from. You just always got to be looking. But I'll tell you, the sprint car drivers are pretty dang impressive to drive that much horsepower, you know, with a little bit of weight they've got and used to throwing them around and sliding them around. But if a guy can drive a sprint car, he can sure drive a stock car. There's no doubt about that.
I think you're right. And the tires that K&N runs, it kind of leads to that kind of racing where you got to be right on edge it all the time. Now, you got a big race coming up at your home track out there in California that you mentioned at the beginning of the interview, but you got a big-name driver coming out and sitting in the seat this weekend, don't you?
Well, we've got the pleasure. Every year we work with Michael Waltrip at some of our races. He comes out. We share what we shared, unfortunately, in the same sponsor with Napa Auto Parts for years, and then we're both backed by Toyota on the manufacturer side. So we've got a lot of the same partners. And every year he's ran for me at Montana, Denver, Phoenix. He comes out and runs a race just to be close to all the Napa and Toyota fans out there, and all the fans really. And he's a lot of fun to work with. We work him like a dog when he comes out here. We go hard and do shows from morning, noon, and night to utilize him as much as we can to promote the upcoming event and our team, and he does a great job. He's a lot of fun to work with, but he's real excited about Chase. He called me today, matter of fact, wondering how things went with Chase Briscoe, and then also Patrick Strapoli, because he was one of the judges, Michael Waltrip was, in that Peak Challenge, and so he watched these two drivers and thinks a lot of them, and he knows they've got a future. So
that is outstanding. And so the K&N series, which some folks didn't know, it's more than just a developmental series out there, especially out in the West. I guess the K&N series is NASCAR out West right now, correct, sir?
It is. It's turned into a development series. There's drivers like Kevin Harvick was our 98 series champion. We worked with Clint Boyer for Richard Childers back in 2004. He did a great job for us. Made a mistake, and he got the pole at California Speedway, and Richard decided to put him in a nationwide car real quick. But it was fun working with Clint. Trevor Bayne is another K&N driver that's come up through the ranks, Martin Truex Jr., and most recently another sprint car driver that came through the K&N East Series and won the championship. There was Kyle Larson. So it's a great stepping stone that NASCAR has built where a driver can come out of the local weekly ranks, move up the cars, the handling of the cars, the sway bars, the springs. A lot of it is the same. So the drivers go out there, get developed in these cars. So when they get a shot to go to a nationwide or truck team or even a cup team, they've had the experience and they can communicate to the engineers and crew chiefs.
That is awesome. Bill, thank you very much for being with us. And we wish you all the best out there in the K&N Pro Series West. We kind of trapped you here on the radio, man. There's something that we do with all of our guests, all the drivers and everyone that's on the show with us. Kenny Wallace started this a few years back. He grabbed the recorder and he just yelled, "Burning rubber, baby!" So guess what? In order to get off the radio, you got to yell those three famous words. You think you can do it for us?
I can handle it. I appreciate it, guys, and I'll tell you what, you keep your eyes on Chase Briscoe. We're going to keep working with him, and we'll get him where he needs to be, that's for sure.
That's awesome. Let's hear those three famous words. Burning rubber, baby!
Burning rubber, baby!
Folks, that is Bill McAnally. Folks, thank you very much, Bill. We're going to be keeping an eye on you and your team out there in the K&N Pro Series West. And Dan, who we got up next?
We got Mr. Chad Hawk in Brawl. What's up tonight, Chad?
Doing pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing all right, man. I'd be doing a lot better if I had some of them tasty apples, but we'll talk about that here in a little while, man. But you knew I'd
Yeah, I think I'd be doing pretty good too.
Hey, man, we'll just go ahead and get this thing started, man. And we've had a tremendous amount of people asking to get you back on the show, and I haven't talked to you since Salem last year, so just getting back here to Burning Rubber. But at any rate, man, I'm going to talk to you about the Nationwide stuff. I know Andy's chomping at the bit to talk about your truck stuff, but what do you think about that Nationwide series, and how's it been going?
It's been going pretty decent. We started out really good up in New Hampshire, had a pretty good run up there, and learned a little bit, and I've learned a lot since then. I've run both Chicagos now, and going back there the second time really helped a bunch. I really learned a lot about the aero on those cars, and just where the limit is really on the Nationwide cars versus what I was used to in the ARCA. It's been a really good learning experience so far, just getting the handle on things. I got 2 more starts left this year, so really just trying to make the most of it, really.
Well, before I ask you, I was looking over your Chicago stats, and what you said, you learned a lot going to both those Chicago races. You're qualifying. It really showed up there. What did you think about that track? Do you like Chicago? I mean, I know your best finish in the Nationwide's at Bristol, and you're a hell of a road racer. So what is it about Chicago that you like so well?
I really don't know. The first time that I went there was in 2011, and or actually that was the second time I had been there, and ended up leading the most laps there in the ARCA car, and ended up having an 8.5 second lead and blowing a tire. But things happen that way. But something about the track is I like the concrete surface. I think, and it's just a fast track. I love that you can go, especially in Nationwide cars, any of the NASCAR series. You couldn't do it so much in the ARCA cars, but you can really spread out on that track, run all the way up to the wall. You can run all the way on the bottom, and either way is fast. It's just what your car likes to do, and that's what I really like about it is that you can run all the way up to the wall. It's a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, hey Chad. Oh, talking about Nationwide real quick before we shift gears into the Camping World Truck Series. You said you got 2 more starts this year. Where are you going to be starting at?
We got Charlotte next week, October 11th. We'll be running the Ingersoll Rand number 44 there, and then we got the Phoenix, Arizona, November 9th to wrap up the year for me.
Awesome. And that's great, man. Hopefully next year, do you have any plans for next year? More trucks, more Nationwide? What you got going?
I'll tell you what, whatever comes my way, whether it be a lawnmower or a NASCAR, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, that's what we're going to be running.
Love it, man. That's a racer right there, buddy. Lawnmower, it don't care. Just strap me in and let me go. I love it, Chad.
Yeah.
Chad, you had mentioned that you like those tracks where you can spread out, run it up against the wall and things like that. Have you run Iowa?
I have in the ARCA car. I have not run it in the Nationwide. That was actually supposed to be my first start this year. Was the first Iowa Nationwide series, but then the truck deal came up, and that axed that out, and I went to Texas in it.
Right on. Was that track that kind? I hear a lot of drivers talking about Iowa where you can get moved around. Andy always talks about that bump down there in one that jars your teeth loose. But can you do that in the ARCA car there? Like I've heard a lot of drivers say you can do, get up there and run that wall?
Yeah, I actually watched the ARCA race this year, and it spread out a lot more than it had in years past that I've run it. Mainly it was a 1, maybe 2 groove track. But there at the end this year, they were running all the way up against the wall in 3 and 4. So it really spread out. But whenever I ran it never really did. If you weren't on the bottom, you weren't going anywhere.
Now, since you like to run up against the wall like that on the pavement, have you ever run any dirt? And if you haven't, is that something that you kind of want to maybe get into? I know in the ARCA car maybe you run dirt, but some like Eldora in the trucks where you can get right up there on the wall and let it go. Yeah,
I think that'd be a blast. I'd love to do it. I've always wanted to run dirt. I never really have, other than the 2 ARCA starts on dirt, which are completely different than your traditional dirt tracks. But no, that's definitely something I'd love to do.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Now we're going to talk about my series that I love so much, Chad, the Camping World Truck Series. Of course, last weekend, you were in the number 51 out at Vegas, and man, you were running so good. And you owe me a television set, by the way, Chad. When you spun coming off the floor there, I threw something and broke my television, bro. Well,
that's not good. That's not good at all.
But Oh my gosh! Hey, listen. What folks out there might not know is that you did finish second at the Canadian Canadian Motorsports track up there in the Camping World Truck Series race. Tell us a little bit about how things are going in that Kyle Busch Motorsports 51, buddy.
Things started off fairly. It's a great opportunity that came about in June, actually a week before Texas, and Texas was my first race with that team. So, it was a great opportunity. We didn't run so well at Texas, ended up wrecking. And but we went on to Pocono, and Pocono is a track that I've always had good history at. I think the worst I've ever finished there in the ARCA car was either 7th or 9th with a second place and a win last year. So, it's a track that I've always loved. I've always taken well to it, and just something that was really good. So we went there, and we were going to have a top 10 until the 31 ended up spinning off of turn 3, and just slowed my momentum down so much that I had to shift down to third, and everyone passed me. But it was great. And then we went on to the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and I actually ran a race before that in the Canadian Tire Series, and had a fast car there, but they ended the race short. And then we went on to finish second in the Truck Series race there, which we were running top 5, top 10 all day long. And then on the last restart, I had the 14 behind me, and he doesn't always have the best track record out there whenever he's in the stock car. So, I just sort of let him go. And as it turns out, he got into it with the 6, and I got 2 positions off of that. And then coming across the checker, I noticed that there was really no one in front of me besides Chase, so it ended up being second, which, I'll take that. So, everything's been going great over there.
By hook or by crook, Chad, you take it any way you can get it, buddy.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. If Chase would have been maybe 5 miles an hour faster, he'd have been in the tire barrier with the 3. So, you never know. But nonetheless, it was an awesome day. I finished second in my third start in the Truck Series. Pretty awesome. And then we went out to Vegas. Went out to Vegas, and I've always had a thing for road courses. I don't know what it is. I'm thinking maybe I've missed my calling, I think, to be a road racer instead. But I love running NASCAR in general. But then we went out to Vegas and had a really strong truck. We ended up qualifying 10th, which was the best out of any of the KBM trucks, which is a really big turnaround from Texas, which is fairly similar to Vegas. But it was a really good race. Had a really good race going. Got really sideways, slapped the wall a little bit with the right rear. The side force never really recovered from that. I couldn't get the truck back under me, and then we ended up spinning off of turn 4 and had a bad set of tires, and then just got mired back in the pack and just couldn't go anywhere on that final restart. But nonetheless, it's been a great run over at KBM. I love it over there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to see you more in that 51 truck, man. That you have to be getting a lot from Kyle. Of course, Joey Coulter's over there. You got a heck of a great team over there and a lot to learn from. You get a lot of resources, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no doubt. And, Daryl and I out at Vegas, we ran together in practice just to see what the air was going to do to both our trucks. And that was really good. And then, Joey ran really well out there last year, so he was able to give me some advice. And then I talked to Kyle the Tuesday before we left, and it was really good. Kyle, any question I have, he's willing to answer in a heartbeat. And whenever he gets a chance to respond to me, he will. He'll give me a call, and we just talk about it. And a lot of stuff has been this aero platform for these trucks that I just haven't been able to get used to until this past weekend in Vegas, and he's really helped a bunch with that. But like you said, a lot of great resources over there at KBM.
Hey, man. Hey, listen, Chad, thanks for being with us here on Burning Rubber Radio, man. We got to get out of here, but those 3 famous words you got to yell before you can get off the phone with us. That's Burning Rubber, baby.
You always do this to me, huh?
That's right, buddy.
Oh, yeah, Burning Rubber, baby.
Woohoo! That's Chad Hockenbraw, folks, and you can see him in the Camping World Truck Series in the 51 and also over in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Hang out. We'll be back with more Burning Rubber Radio. Woo! Get a breath right after this.
I'm so glad we left that stupid party. No joke. Hey, baby, are you an overdue library book? Because you got fine written all over you. Oh, barf. What about that girl with the hoop earrings? Ridiculous. When she was dancing... Megan, look out! Look out! Oh my God, Becky. Becky, are you okay? My arm. I think it's broken. Can you bend it? It's already bent. In the wrong direction. I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. I only had a few drinks. I was just buzzed. Really? Just buzzed?
Yeah, I swear.
Well, in that case, my arm is fine. Ah, that's better.
You're really okay? You're serious, Becky?
No, genius. I'm not serious.
Ow! My arm, it hurts.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
You're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, your authority on motorsports of all types. Be listening for the most accurate and up-to-the-minute coverage of every motorsports activity that you enjoy on a daily basis. Be it NASCAR, be it IRL, be it Formula One, be it drag racing, be it dirt track, off-road, props, hulls, whatever. We are your source for motorsport. Performance Motorsports Network.
You're listening to Burning Rubber Radio. And now a former law enforcement officer guy that has a faster draw than Sheriff Quick Draw McGraw.
Arriba, arriba, tostada, sombrero, enchilada, tortillas. Am I mad?
At least that's what all of his ex-girlfriends told us.
Not only that, but you're a big bully, too.
Andy DeLay and the crew.
Oh, my good Lord, have mercy. It ain't nothing like getting thrown under the bus here, man. Anyway, welcome back to Burn the Rubber Radio, everybody. I'm Andy DeLay. Along with the crazy crew here, we have had some fun today, whenever you're listening. It's always fun to talk to you. Dan, you got all kinds of cool stuff that you got to talk about.
All kinds of cool stuff, but we're up against the clock, and I want to give everybody a chance to talk. I just want to tell everybody, Saturday, October 5th, whatever day you're listening to this, Saturday, October 5th, Burning Rubber Radio and Performance Motorsports Network will be live doing a radio broadcast from Atomic Speedway in Chillicothe, Ohio. I'm fired up about it. I am fired up. What do you got to say about that, Swami?
I'm all excited about it. Burning Rubber Radio's taking it grassroots, and folks, we're just kind of refocus some stuff we've been talking about here. We're going to take our focus definitely off of Sprint Cup. You haven't heard us talk once, except right now, about the Sprint Cup race this past week and the chase for the Cup, because I don't give a damn about it. We're going to be focusing on the K&N Series, the East and West Pro Series, of course, the Camping World Truck Series, and all the stuff that Dan and Emily and all that stuff like to do. So tell me, Emily, what you got cooking this weekend?
Oh, this weekend we got to set up our UNOH hosts the Engine Master Challenge, and I signed up to work on that. So we have to set up and get ready for them all to come, and then all next week we're going to be loading and unloading engines off the dyno. So that's what I got going on.
All right, and hey, Bob Steele's over there jumping up and down. What you got, Bob?
Yeah.
Like that donkey in
the
Shrek.
PMN, one of the PMN road teams is going to be at Summit Point Motorsports Park for the wrap-up of the Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series season, and Mike Wolf and I are going to be doing the play-by-play for both days, Saturday and Sunday, so that should be a blast as well. Plus, they got something new. It's called Cruise In for Coffee. They got coffee, and you bring your car into Summit Point, and it's absolutely free admission-wise Saturday and Sunday, so that's going to be a big time, big fun. Summit Point Motorsports Park, just outside of Washington, D.C. in Summit Point, West Virginia.
That's it. All right, folks, that's about it for Burning Rubber Radio. I do want to give a shout-out to big old F.U. Floyd up the Grove over there on the NAPCAR Has Issues page. Folks, go join that. NAPCAR, N-A-P-C-A-R, Has Issues page on the Burning Rubber, on Facebook. And that's all we got this week. So until next week, Andy DeLay, Dan Smith, Big Fat Charles Robinson, and Emily Gade saying, Burning Rubber, baby!
Burning Rubber, baby!
Burning Rubber Radio is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports. Burning Rubber Radio is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network.com, a division of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated. This program may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/burning-rubber-radio, or go to the Performance Motorsports Network.com website and look for our landing page there. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or the Scorpion Radio Group, or those of our advertisers and marketing partners. Be listening next week as we munch through 4 or 5 large pieces, half the salad bar, and at least a case of chilled adult beverages.
Hey there!
Huh?
What about the guests and the
motorsports coverage and all the other cool stuff they do.
Oh, yeah, well.
Oh, come on now.
And they do one hell of a show.
Okay.
For Burning Rubber Radio, I'm Cougar Michael.
Burning rubber, baby!